And these are very, very important procedures to teach at the beginning of the year because you want your students to really actively listen to you, but also actively listen to their peers. And they're not playing with paper or pencils, but they're actively listening and being respectful. That is the goal, to be listening and to be respectful so that they can do their best, right? And so when you're teaching these procedures, this goes into my fourth superpower, which is teacher directions. Hi there, welcome. I know you are here from part 1. I hope you are here from part 1 when I discussed the 7 teacher power skills to make you an effective teacher, to give you that teacher presence, teacher voice, and teacher skill to teach procedures and manage your classroom. So on to number 4, where I will teach you how to teach directions. Keep on watching for more power skills to become an amazing teacher this year. When you're teaching these procedures, it's very important to explain everything. If 90% of your students cannot do a task, it is because you did not teach it correctly. So you have to chunk it in sequential steps using step-by-step process. Redirect the students if they didn't do it correctly. Do it again. Respond to call attention. Do it again if they did not do it. Do it again. Teach it over again until you see that 90% or 100% of your students have done it correctly. The goal is to get to 100% of students understanding your directions, understanding your procedures, and even understanding your lesson, right? So I'll show you how you can give a teacher direction using chunks and sequential step-by-step process. So let's begin. Alrighty, boys and girls, now that you have had time to think about what you did this weekend, I want you to tell your partner what you did this weekend. First, when I clap my hand once, don't do it yet. I see Susie's tracking, I see Roger's tracking. When I clap my hands once, I would like you to turn and talk to your partner in a level 1 voice about your weekend. Using the sentence starter, my weekend was blank because blank. I'll model first and I'll show you, okay? My turn first. Whose turn is it, everyone? Whose turn is it? And we're sitting in star. I see Susie's tracking. I see Roger's tracking. Very good. All right. My turn first. You all are watching. My weekend was awesome because I went to the lake and I went jet skiing. All right, so now that you have seen Ms. Campbell demonstrate, I want you to show me a thumbs up if you understand what to do. Good, I see some thumbs up. Student A, what will we do? Student B, what will we do? Susie, what will we do? Roger, what will we do? Very good. Now everyone understands. Very good. You will have 2 minutes to talk to your friend about your weekend using the sentence starter. Number 1, remember you will speak first, and number 2, you will speak second. Ready, set. Okay, so I know it was very explicit and took a while, but at the beginning, the first week and the second week, you have to be explicit in your directions, especially for kindergarten, first and second graders. Now, upper graders, upper level students, you may do this really quickly because they may know the procedures already. You may have to just say, and they'll turn, and you do, and they'll stop, whatever you want. They'll get that. As the year progresses, you won't have to be so explicit, but yes, you will have to give directions, but not as explicit. The directions will shorten down and you'll still check for understanding, but it will get shortened down where students will know what to do right away, right? And so I know I said number 1 will speak first and number 2 will speak first. On my desk, each student is going to have a number 1 and a number 2 so they know their partners and they know when to who goes first and they know who goes second. If a student is absent, what I will do is I'll sanitize that desk and have that student sit at that empty desk so that they can have pairs. And if I have an odd number of students, I have 29 students. And so if it's an odd number, I will sometimes work with that student if I know they need to work with me, or I'll make them a trio, and I will do that beforehand. Now going into number 5, which is teacher redirection. Teacher redirection is all about redirecting your students in a positive way, consistently and within 10 to 20 seconds when you see that behavior. Now, as students are talking in groups, you are using your teacher proximity and your presence to walk around the room, right? You're positively narrating a little, not too much to distract them from talking. You're just saying, oh, I like how Susie is listening quietly as Roger's talking. You're giving gentle reminders for students to focus. And you're also telling them you have 1 minute left, 30 seconds left. All right, 10 seconds left. Finish up your conversations in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sitting in star. And teacher direction can also look like using nonverbal redirections. You do not have to talk a lot. You do not have to use your voice, okay? You can use nonverbal redirections. These are the least invasive corrections, such as teacher look, going teacher proximity, walking at their desk, tapping like this and tapping and saying, directing their attention to what they should be focusing on, right? You can also have a 0, right? When students are talking too loud, you're gonna wait, holding up that 0, knowing that they should be at a level 0, right? These are redirections that you can use that don't have to strain your voice. And this can be applied to whole group, small group. So if students are reading a book and they are working on their tasks, you can make eye contact with the student who is not reading their book. If they're not in their book and they're looking up, you can make eye contact. And the student will see your eye contact and they will go back to reading, right? And most of the time, they'll go back to reading. If not, then you positively narrate a good student behavior. I love how Susie is reading her book. I like that Daphne is looking at her book, right? You can use those, and you can even put a thumbs up. Like if you see a student doing something really good, thumbs up. Walk to the student's table and give them a thumbs up, or from across the room, thumbs up, give them a smile. You may have to do a private, quick 5-second reminder, like, please quietly read your book, remember, stuff like that. But you don't want it to be in front of the whole class. There are some things that does not need to be spoken in front of the whole class. You can quietly tell them, okay, right? You can quietly tell the student in private, right? Or at the end of the day, you may have a conversation with that student. So I'll show you how positive narration could look as you're redirecting students, right? So 1, 2, and we are sitting in star in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, star. Time is up, everyone. Everyone should have their pencils down on the table, sitting in star and looking at Miss Campbell. I see Daniel is sitting in star. I see Daphne's eyes are looking at Miss Campbell. I see Anthony's putting his pencil down and now sitting in star. Good job, everyone. You did awesome. Kiss your smart brain and sitting in star. Awesome. That's it. Now, you don't have to do the kiss your brain, but my kiddos, kinder, first, and second graders usually love that. Kiss your brain. Some of them not so much, but you can use kiss your brain, give yourselves a big round of applause, give yourselves a pat on the back, say, oh yeah, stuff like that to pump them up, right? And when you're positively narrating these students who are following directions, this is really good because you're not narrating negative behavior and you're not calling out the students and making them feel, bad about it. Because sometimes students don't know and they didn't hear it the first time. So they need that second reminder or that third reminder. But this reinforces their behavior and puts pressure on the other students to do the same good behavior without feeling like they are a bad student. We don't want them to feel like that. We want to see the positive in all of our students, right? So this goes into my teacher consequences and how we have to be aware, we have to understand what consequences we should give to a behavior and how every behavior does not require the same consequence, right? And so when we think of consequence, it's just basically a response to a child's behavior. It could be a positive consequence or a negative consequence. As you begin to teach, you will see that there are natural positive, natural negative, and logical consequences. Like you're like, okay, this has to be done because of what the student has done, right? This consequence has to be made for the behavior that this consequence fits the student's behavior. If a student has done something, a consequence could be a general class reminder, individual reminder, or a warning, a second individual reminder speaking to that student one-on-one, privately, and then even a timeout in class if they're still not listening after you reminding them and gave them warning, a timeout in class, and timeout in class at the teacher's desk, timeout outside of the class in another teacher's desk or in the principal's office, a note home, or a parent phone call or a parent conference, right? Now, these consequences can look different. So I want you to really understand that there are natural consequences. A natural consequence is anything that happens naturally with no adult interference. It is meant to teach the students that their behavior has an impact on themselves, on others, and the environment around them. So when a student, for example, is running in the classroom and they fall, the natural consequence is they are hurt. I'm sure they're not going to want to run around the classroom anymore and they don't want to get hurt. So they're not going to do that, hopefully, right? Or the teacher consequence for that, for the student running around the classroom, would be a warning and a reminder to not run and to walk. And now their consequence is they're going to walk back in the line, or they're going to walk around the classroom and they're going to do it correctly, right? And another natural consequence is that, say, student A hits student B. Natural consequence is student B is not going to play with student A anymore because student B is hurt. And the teacher consequences is if this is a first offense for not following the rules and for touching other students, there will be a timeout sitting at the teacher desk, lunch detention, a note home, and a phone call to parent. But if this is a continuous offense where they're hitting students, yes, then there will need to be a principal's office phone, a parent conference before you go to that level of suspension, right? We don't want to get to suspension. We want to talk it out with the student first. We want to talk it out with the parents, with the principal, with other teachers, what they have observed in their classrooms in PE and in specials in art and music. We want to have conversations first, and we want to get to the nitty-gritty of why the student is acting like this before we suspend them, right? Now, if a student stabs a student with a pencil, yes, the natural consequence is the other student is hurt and they must report to the principal's office and nurse, because that is unacceptable. You cannot hurt a student physically with pens, pencils, scissors, or whatever. That's an extreme, and that's an extreme behavior that has an extreme consequence right to the principal's office. There's no reminder to tell you to stop. No, you go right to the principal's office and we start talking about how we can stop you from doing that again if this was a first offense, right? So that's why it's super important to set up a positive environment. If you have a positive environment in your classroom and you have a teacher radar where you're always focusing, you're always tracking, you're always looking, scanning the room, and your students respect you, and you have students seated in areas where they respect each other, then sometimes this won't happen, right? This should not happen. But I know things happen. You have a new student and they don't know the rules and procedures and they start acting out. Well, that's why you have to teach these procedures, teach these rules, teach these consequences, so they know that you are serious and that you deserve respect, as they do deserve respect, and their classmates deserve respect as well, right? And so when they are learning these classroom rules and these consequences, it's also important to know about teacher rewards. So as a teacher, you have to teach rewards. Teach them that you will give them verbal praise, like positive narrating, awesome behaviors that they're doing. Give them points, right? You can write their name of student, and you can give them 1 point, 2 point, 3, 4, 5 points. When they get 5 points, they may get a point, a treasure at the end of the day, or they may get points where they receive prizes at the end of Friday. Each Friday, they get a prize out of the treasure chest, right? Or you do a free choice where the students can pick an activity that they want to do. You may even have a student of the week celebration or a student of the day shout out, even class dojo points, and even positive notes home, which is super important because parent communication is important to help student behavior. It's important to reinforce student behavior because many students really love pleasing their parents, right? And if they see that they're getting a positive note home, they're going to be happy. And sometimes a parent may even have a reward system at home. So if they see that you have a reward system at school, you can tell that parent to give them a point at home. And this all helps build that classroom community, even with the parent at home as well. So those are all my 7 superpower tips for you to become a better teacher. I hope they were super, super helpful. They were teacher presence, teacher voice, teacher procedures, teacher directions, teacher redirections, teacher consequences, and teacher rewards. They all flow together and all connected, so you will see a mixture of them throughout the year as you continue to develop them. If you have any questions or any concerns about teaching these in your classrooms, please message me or comment below, and I'm happy to help. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.